and welcome back to So My Wife's a Witch,
a Bewitched Deep Dive Podcast.
I'm Madison.
And I'm Nathan.
And we're your hosts for the evening, or morning, or afternoon, or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Yeah. We are so excited to deep dive into the second episode of Bewitched today.
Yes. All right, are you ready?
I mean, I feel like we have a few things to address from last time.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So, well, first of all, I would just like to thank all of you who watched and listened to our first episode. I feel like we got a lot of really good feedback, really positive feedback, very overwhelming response just to our first episode. So, yeah, I would just like to say thank you and, you know, keep sharing it with everyone you know, because it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Heck yeah, it is. Yeah, we got a lot of really great comments. I was really surprised to see one of the authors of our Bewitched Bible.
Yes, David L. Pierce reached out and commented, which most of the comments that we had were about a mistake we made. So, of course, we're going to point that out.
But I'm okay. I'm like... Please check us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. We weren't alive during that time. And also, I feel like the comments is a really great space to share knowledge and engage in healthy discourse over the episode and how Bewitched has affected you and how much you love it. And I feel like we can make it a really positive space to share information.
So the first thing, of course, was we were so perplexed about why Darrin would say, I'm from Missouri. And you know what that means? Show me. And that's because Missouri is apparently the show me state. And that just goes to show our education, I guess.
There's going to be things we don't know. And we appreciate you coming on this journey with us and talking about it with us.
So thank you to those who pointed that out. We appreciate it. And we appreciate that it was never negative or mean that we didn't know that. So thank you.
Very positive in the comments for the most part.
Oh, yeah. So my favorite comment, you know, it was left on YouTube by someone, not sure of her name, or if she's a she.
Facts. Could be a they, could be a he.
Well, pronouns. But her comment was, too gay for me, sorry. So... same random lady, but sometimes that's all you got to work with, and I'm making it work. But also the show is very queer and gay, so buckle up or don't listen or watch.
Facts. And also if you notice that it's not for you, you don't have to comment. You can just scroll on. You can just move on to your next thing of the day. You don't have to spend any more energy on it, talking about it. You can simply just move on.
Yeah. Some thoughts can stay in your head, but it made me laugh.
It made me giggle too.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. But as long as that is the nastiest we get in the comments, I'll be happy. So yeah, so that one, and then also David that wrote the Bewitched history book also pointed out that I said that I thought, because Nathan, not all brunette women look the same. But no, Nancy Kovac, who played Sheila in the pilot episode, won't be back until season 4, he pointed out. Not in season 1.
We're going to have to wait a little longer than we thought to see Miss Kovac again.
Yeah. Sad. But she will be back, and I'm excited to see her again. So, yes. Anything else? Any other thoughts from last time? I do also want to say we cite our sources in the description. So if you are ever curious on where we find our information, you can take a look in the description of the episode, and we will link all of our sources. We talk about our Bewitched Bibles there and any websites that we went to find more information for our deep dives. So if you're ever curious, Nathan linked a really cool documentary about Elizabeth Montgomery on the last one, which is where he found a lot of the information on the secret sauce and some stuff that I couldn't even find online, but it's linked right there for you. Also, in the description, I'm also putting the link to the episode on YouTube if it's available on YouTube from the Bewitched official page. So if, just so it's convenient for y'all, if you would like to watch the episode along with us, it'll be right there in that video description on YouTube. So.
What service? That is so kind of you, making it so accessible.
I like to think of others.
You truly,
yeah.
Truly. Okay, great. Anything else from last time that we need to touch base on?
I don't think so.
Should we dive into the episode?
Mosey on over to episode 2.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So episode 2, the title is Be It Ever So Mortgaged, and it premiered on September 24th, 1964, and it is presented by Chevrolet. Another thing David pointed out from last week's episode is that the first episode was sponsored by Quaker Oats, not Chevrolet. So this one is sponsored by Chevrolet.
It is.
For sure. Yes. And then I have some fun things about kind of what happened on this day or around this time period in 1964, if you'd like to hear them.
Yes, I would love to hear this.
Yes. So the most exciting for me is because I also grew up watching this show as well, is that on this day, September 24th, 1964, The Munsters premiered on CBS.
Ooh, The Munsters classic.
Yes. You ever watched The Munsters?
I actually didn't watch The Munsters, but my siblings, who are much older than I am, they watched The Munsters and a lot of those classic TV shows.
Wow. What's that supposed to mean?
That means that they're old. And no, that's not what that means. It means they're a lot more educated and they have better taste than I do.
The number one song at this time, in America at least, was Oh Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison and the Candymen.
Pretty woman.
Exactly.
Walking down the street. I know that one. Something I know.
Beautiful. And then the number one song in the UK was I'm Into Something Good by Herman's Hermits.
You got this.
They know the song.
They know the song.
They know the song.
Come on.
This is a podcast this is a podcast about Bewitched. They know the song.
They gotta know the song.
Yeah. But Herman's Hermits were the ones that sang that King Henry VIII song.
I don't even know that.
What is it? I am Henry VIII. I am Henry VIII. I am. That one.
You're running circles around me right now, and I hope you know it. Little confidence boost on your end.
Or is it just that I'm an old woman? So.
Yes, and we love this about you.
Anyway. Okay.
This is a very exciting episode. We meet many important characters this episode. Abner, Gladys, the house itself, the Stevens' home.
And what are their last names?
I don't know. What are their last names, Nathan?
So we meet Mr. and Mrs. Kravitz in the second episode. And they live right across the street from Darrin and Samantha.
What this? And we'll talk more about them later.
Exactly. All right. So do you want to get into it?
Let's get into it. So the episode opens with the narrator again, narrating what Samantha's doing. She's attempting to cook breakfast for her husband, but she is having a right go of it. It is a mess. I gasped when the orange juice hit the floor. She's juicing the oranges. She's cooking something in a pan that is... Two pans that one is set on fire and she runs it right under the water to put it out. She's cooking toast and she's burning it. It's a mess. All of it's a mess.
Yes. The best is the toast that pops out of the toaster, of course, is completely burnt. And which, for this, like we said in the last episode, the ones on YouTube and then some other ones, they are the colorized versions of the show, because I don't think it went to color until season 3 or 4. But correct me if I'm wrong. So I like watching the colorized versions, but then the ones we watch on Hulu as well, those are all in black and white. So we watch both just in case we miss something or they change something in the colorized versions. But yes, definitely burnt toast on both versions. Definitely.
And it's a nightmarish kitchen fiasco. She's burning herself on the steam of the pan. She's burning her hands on the toast. And the narrator says, the capable housewife moves efficiently through her tasks. So it's a nice little bit of comedy there.
Yes.
And then right before Darrin reaches the kitchen, she takes a look at the state of things and decides to use her magic anyway. And she fixes it all magically.
Yeah, because she still wants to impress him. She's like, I have to prove that I'm a good housewife.
And he is quite impressed.
Yeah.
He takes a look at it and he goes, oh, look at all this. You didn't have to do all that.
Little flower on the table and everything.
It's a nice touch. Nice touches. I remember when we watched this, you commented on the nice, finely decorated chairs that they had.
Yes. Yeah, like at their chairs on the wood, like there's like hand-painted like details and like flowers, a whole bunch of stuff on the chairs that they sit in. Mm-hmm. It's really cute.
Lots of beautiful set dressings this episode.
Yeah. But that, of course, like people at the time would not have been able to notice or appreciate because of how bad the quality was as well. But now that we've like turned it into HD and everything, we can finally see those details.
Those little touches.
That just help them on set, I guess, still to feel like it was home kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I also laughed watching this scene when Samantha is struggling to cook and everything's going wrong. I was like, oh, she's just like me.
Yeah, but then it's funny too because of my deep dive last episode, we know that she was apparently a very good cook in real life. So it's just like having to pretend that she's a bad cook. She's a great actress.
She is a great actress. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's also interesting to watch her decide to use magic and the inner conflict between not wanting to because she made a promise, but wanting things to be right and correct and look good.
Yeah. And I think like it helps too, like with the frustration.
Yes.
Because she's getting frustrated and all that. And so she's like, why am I getting frustrated? Like, let me just fix this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm still doing it myself.
Yeah, I tried. I put all the effort in.
Yeah.
And I will note, because right after the scene ends, we see the credits and we find out it was written by Barbara Avden.
Nice.
She was a feminist and political activist. She co-created...
Wait. We're doing a little mini ditty.
We're doing a little mini ditty.
Okay.
On Barbara Avden.
Nice.
Avden. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her last name, but her first name is Barbara, and I definitely know how to say that.
Could be Barbara.
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 She was a feminist, a political activist. She co-created Cagney and Lacey, which was the world's first drama, which featured 2 female leads in starring roles. So that was the world's first drama that had 2 women at the top of the bill that were the center of the show. And I thought that was pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. She also founded a anti-war organization called Another Mother for Peace, and that was in response to the Vietnam War at the time. So she was a pretty incredible woman, and she wrote this episode.
Did she write any other Bewitched episodes?
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. We can take a peek at the credits and see if she writes any of the other ones.
Nice. But yeah, like especially sole writing credit. That's pretty nice too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's like kind of things we talked about in the last episode as well, but like still seeing that, yes, like this is a show like still portraying Samantha as like wanting to be the perfect housewife, but knowing that there's extremely like progressive or more liberal-minded people than what was normal at the time working on the show, and Elizabeth Montgomery, and then even the writer. That's wonderful.
Yeah, right?
So
it's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
And then the next scene opens and it's Samantha and she's baked a cake. So pretty incredible that she wasn't able to put breakfast together, but she baked a whole cake.
She did. I like one of the details is that there is like a Sara Lee or Pillsbury, Duncan Hines, whatever, like box cake mix box on the counter behind her as well, like positioned. Surprised it wasn't another way to like show like an ad, put an ad in there, but
sponsor.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But yeah, so either way, this cake goes through several iterations, but let me just say it is an ugly ass cake no matter who designs it.
Mm-hmm. Just by itself, you can tell it's not been iced well.
No.
My favorite iteration is when she adds some of the strawberry icing, and you can tell she's doing her darndest to make it into this perfect rose. And then she like sets the icing pack down, and she just decides to start playing with it with her fingers.
She does. Yeah, so she's making this cake, and then who happens to pop up behind her?
Oh, it's her mother, Endora.
Yes, looking gorgeous and fabulous as always.
Mm-hmm. And she's reading Harpy's Bazaar. Hilarious. It's
so cute.
Right? It's like a little witch world version of Harper's Bazaar.
Yes.
We love.
So yeah, she's behind her while she's making the cake. And of course she comments on like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you keep, like doing these things when you don't have to? Like these very pedestrian things when you have the magic. And she's like, oh, I wanted to do these things myself. Like the same thing she was kind of saying in the last episode. And so yeah, she's like doing the weird frosting thing like you were saying, like sticking her fingers in it. Looks awful. And so then Endora's like, oh, well, what about this? And then she says, like, these things will make it better. So she like adds like some columns. She adds a gazebo in the middle of the cake and some better looking roses. The roses were the only thing that looked good.
I did like that, the trimming.
Like the gazebo and the columns look so awful.
Never seen a cake quite like it. She does it up. It's a bit over the top.
Yeah. But either way, like we said, all iterations of this cake are hideous. Maybe it's better to just go as simple as possible. Like, you don't have to add any decoration if you're not comfortable.
Right. I really like the rustic look.
Yeah.
Cake. And she says at one point, as a mother, I failed you completely. And Samantha goes, you got me a husband, didn't you? And I thought that was hilarious because all mothers want for their daughters at this time is to find a nice, handsome man to settle down with. And she has found one, and yet her mother is still not satisfied. And it's also funny from an audience perspective because we just saw the scene where she can't even cook breakfast or anything. So you would hope your parents would have taught you how to cook breakfast or cook a meal for yourself. So I thought that was a funny tidbit.
Yeah.
And the other part of the scene that stands out to me is when Endora does the witch's honor.
Yes, I have that written down.
Bit, which means that she's made an unbreakable oath. She's like, telling the truth.
Those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she points to her eyes when she does it too, which is very iconic, I felt.
Yeah. So Darrin comes downstairs.
Yeah.
For his breakfast.
Or no, he gets home from work. He's like taking off his coat, and it's surprising because you think they should be able to sense him like they did in the first episode when he arrives.
I think she does.
They don't. They hear him. It cuts to him in the other room taking his coat off and putting his shoes on.
That's right.
And then it cuts to them in the kitchen, and they're like, "Oh, mother, you better go."
Unless you want to meet him right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she says, you better go as if it's not like the right moment. But she was just saying how you want to meet him as much as he wants to meet you, whatever. And then she's like, no, you better go. It's not the right time. And Endora says, well, I kind of want to get a closer look. And Samantha's like, oh, won't you just go? So she disappears for a little bit.
Yes.
And then Samantha and Darrin are talking to each other, and she keeps looking over his shoulder at Endora, who's appeared on the staircase.
Yeah, she keeps popping like around where, like behind Darrin's back, like where she can see, and Samantha can see her, but Darrin can't see her. So Samantha's acting weird, and he's like, what's going on? Are you okay? My favorite was, I've received more passionate kisses from my father. So that was really cute. But my favorite is when, she's on the like banister of the stairway, like the stairs, and she mouths, "Is that him?" I cackled so hard. Like asking Samantha, "Is that him?" Like, no, I'm just hugging and kissing this random man. That's not my husband. It's just so funny to me.
So after Endora disappears, and Darrin's like in the next room, Sam has this moment where she looks at the cake and she's like, oh, should I fix it? And she's like, no, I won't. And then she's like, oh, but it looks bad. And then she like decides to fix it. She twitches her nose and she fixes it magically. And it's like this wonderful close up on Elizabeth Montgomery. And it just gives her acting a chance to shine, to watch without words, all of these thoughts pass across her face.
Yeah.
And she's a great actress, and it really shows.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so Endora's watching all of this happen, and he's trying to like kiss his wife. He's trying to kiss her, and she's kind of like she's like kisses him back, but he's trying to like put his face in her hair and compliment her, and she's kind of pulling away from him, and he's like, Samantha, you were friendlier on our first date.
Yeah. And then Endora, and instead of, is that him, she mouths, Samantha.
Right? Because it's implying that they went beyond first base on their first date. And I thought that was hilarious. And getting to see her reaction to that, gold.
I also thought, though, too, like, them being, like, witches and, like, these non-human whatevers, like, would they be, like, conformed or, like, whatever to those society standards? So, like, why is Endora so mad?
You would think not, right?
She'd be like, get it. Or is she mad that he was immortal? And like, she's like, no, don't you be getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that they would be beyond that sort of thing. And then she says something later on, he's still trying to like, why are you being weird? And she's like, I just think some things should be kept to ourselves. And he at first doesn't pick up on this. He goes to talk about where he drove out to earlier that day.
Yeah, he keeps trying to bring up something to her. He wants to tell her something that he drove around and he saw something, right?
Right. And then he thinks about it and he goes, wait, what do you mean? And I thought that was very good for him to pick up on that and think, oh, someone is here with us.
Yeah.
And I was like, he is a good match for Samantha. He's able to pick up on this kind of thing.
Yeah, which is cute. And but no, so Endora finally leaves, finally, and then Darrin's still asking her what's wrong, and so she gives him a more passionate kiss, like the ones we saw in the last episode. And then he's like, oh, that's better, you know, and his mind is more at ease, and then he's able to tell her the news. Right? And so he says that he was driving around outside of the city, and he was driving through a neighborhood with some new builds, and he saw a house for sale.
Yes. And he starts to describe them needing to really, like, lock in order to afford the life that he wants in any typical, you know, housewife would want.
Yeah.
A house to call their own. But he ends up using the exact same words that Endora used to describe the boring, grounded nature of mortals.
Yeah, nose to the grindstone, all that. So she says that when Samantha's trying to make the cake earlier. Like, mortals are so, like, one note, nose to the grindstone,
shoulder
all
to
that.
The wheel.
Yeah. And so, like, Darrin starts saying, like, the exact same things that Endora was saying, but about the house. And Sam's, like, really uneasy. And she's like, oh, okay. Because she's like,
my mother was right.
Yeah, because she seems very torn in that moment when he's telling her about the house, because he's saying those things and she's remembering what Endora said. And she's like, oh, mother is so right. Like, that is weird. Like, is that the life that I want?
And she looks over at her mother, who's now on top of a grandfather clock or something. She's like up.
Yeah, she's up higher.
She's up higher, and she's like mouthing everything he's saying. To the grindstone. She's adorable. I love her. I understand why you love her so much.
Oh, she's incredible.
She's great. And so then he's like, oh, what's wrong? He like picks up on her unease, and she goes, oh no, whatever makes you happy will make me happy, darling. And he goes, well, I'm about to make you the happiest woman. Go get my dinner.
Yes.
And she gets up and she leaves, and Endora pops up next to her somewhere in between the living room and the kitchen and laughs a grand laugh, cackles a bit. And Samantha kind of gives her a look like, mother. And then she disappears again, and Darrin's like, what was that? And Samantha's like, oh, nothing. And she like laughs this like sassy, joking laugh. She's like, that was a very cute joke you made.
About getting your dinner.
Yeah. And I thought it was so funny. I love her face is so unamused.
Yeah. Tries to like mimic Endora's laughter.
It's good.
Also, when they're hugging, earlier when she was making the cake, Samantha gets strawberry frosting in her hair.
Yeah.
And you can see it. Like, they put strawberry frosting in her hair. And then when he's like, his face is like in her hair and he kind of turns into kind of like Biden for a little bit. And
Sniffing girls.
Yeah, he's like sniffing her hair, but then like some gets in his mouth and he's like, he's like, strawberry frosting? And then that was his way. Like, he finds out about the surprise because she was going to surprise him with the cake.
And he's like, I am surprised. I didn't know your hair tasted like frosting.
I love your hair. It feels so soft. Smells so good. Tastes good, too.
Yeah.
So silly.
Anything else I should know about? Yeah, it was really cute. But yeah, so then we're in the next morning. And Darrin's leaving for work, and she's like, are you sure there's not something else you would like for breakfast? Like, I can cook you something else. And he's like, no. Like, the cake was just fine. So he had cake for breakfast, which I'm guilty of.
Right? I would do that too.
I'll choose cake, if it's good cake, for breakfast anytime. Right? So, like, we know she's not great at cooking breakfast, so I guess he was around that time, so where she couldn't just magically make the breakfast better like she did the day before. And so she's like, oh, well, here's some cake. We
have so much leftover cake. We might as well eat it for breakfast.
Yeah. So really cute. And so he leaves and everything, and Endora is back with Samantha. And so she's kind of telling her mom about the house that Darrin wants her to go see. So she's supposed to meet Darrin at the house that day when he leaves for work. So they're supposed to meet at the new house. And so she's telling Endora about it, and Endora is like, yeah, again, like, this is crazy. Like, we're witches. We're not, we're not supposed to sit still. And I wrote down what she said because it's really good and the imagery is really wonderful. Mm-hmm. But yes, so Endora says, we are quicksilver, a fleeting shadow,
a distant sound. Our home has no boundaries beyond which we cannot pass. We live in music, in a flash of color. We live on the wind, and the sparkle of a star. And you want to trade it all for a quarter of an acre of crabgrass.
I love that part. I wrote
so
that down
cute
too.
Yeah, so that's really wonderful. And so she's just trying to get because she wants Endora to go with her and support her. She's like, well, like, Darrin's really excited about it, so the least I can do is go see it, and I would really like you to come with me because your opinion does matter to me. She's like, okay, fine, right? Because she loves her daughter more than anything. Mm-hmm. She'll give her a hard time, but she loves her daughter. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, okay. And then she's like, Samantha's like, oh, let me go get ready. It'll just take me a minute. And then Endora immediately moves her hand, and the pantry door opens, and out comes a broom. And Samantha's like, mother, you can't be serious. Like, that they're going to ride. Yeah, they're going to fly on a broom. And then she's like, no, what's his name got cake crumbs on the floor. And so the broom starts, sweeping up the cake crumbs, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah. And from that angle, we can see that this is a scene that they filmed at the same time where they were filming the pilot when Elizabeth Montgomery is pregnant, their first child. And in that exact shot of the broom sweeping the ground, you can see Samantha's nightgown, which is oversized to hide the baby bump, but it can't. You can still see she's quite pregnant in this shot. So I thought that was a fun little behind the scenes moment from David's.
Yeah, I think they're in both books. Yeah, but yeah, she was definitely ready to pop. Bless her heart. She was very around. But yeah, so then we transition to the outside of a home.
Yes, and it's interesting to see Endora in normal human clothes and normal human hair and normal human makeup.
Yeah, so her hair is smaller. She has normal clothes. They have her in a little heel as well, instead of like flats or something. And she has a bag as well, so she kind of blends in a little better, even though she looks incredible.
Little brooch.
Yes.
So cute.
Yes. So they arrive at 1164 Morning Glory Circle. And it doesn't have a yard yet. Like, it definitely looks like a fresh new build. No landscaping whatsoever.
Right? And
Yes.
Endora says, well, we've got to change that. Like, there's so much potential here. Right? And
Yeah.
so they start having fun with the landscaping. And Endora adds some shrubbery. She had some bushes around the outside. She adds a flower bed, 2 trees, and kind of does it up a little bit. And then Sam goes, oh, no. 1 tree, that tree's too big there. 1 tree, gonna go there. Shrubs are too much. And they just kind of play around. It's like when you are playing Sims and you're building your house for the first time. Have you ever played Sims?
A little bit.
Okay, great. I'm obsessed with Sims. I'm a Sims girly. And you're deciding what your house wants to look like, and you're adding all these things and saying, that's too much.
Can you talk Simlish?
Zableeblab, Zanoob, Zabarb. Don't judge me.
I shouldn't
This
ask
is
you.
amazing.
I shouldn't ask you to do that.
That was so good.
didn't
That was
like it.
like, as an actor, when people are like, can you do a monologue? That was what you just did with Simlish. But the only difference is that's my passion, and I will happily speak Simlish any day of the week.
Well, that made me uncomfortable. But yeah, so this is definitely the Bewitched meets HGTV episode.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a lot of work for the crew behind the scenes, especially in this scene, to like put grass here, like move all these plants around. So I just love, like, we gotta appreciate the special effects in the whole show, but especially this episode, just how much work went into decorating this house.
Absolutely. And also the fact that they don't seem scared or at all about people seeing them use magic so openly
Yeah.
and visibly.
Broad daylight.
Broad daylight, just like out in the open in this. Is it a cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
I remember it being a cul-de-sac, and anyone on the street could be watching them. And someone is watching them.
Yes. So we cut to a home across the street. And it is the home of Abner and Gladys Kravitz, who are their neighbors. So I love the Kravitzes.
It was interesting getting to meet them because they're a much older married couple. They've been together a lot longer.
Yes, as Abner says, he is retired. So she's looking out the window. She has this really thick, it looks so good, ham sandwich in her hand. And so she's like eating as she's acting and saying her lines. And she's looking out the window. She's like, oh, there's 2 women outside of the house across the street looking at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, leave me alone. Like, I'm retired. I'm just trying to do the crossword puzzle. She's like, oh, Abner, I love them so much. But yeah, so she goes back to do something. I can't remember.
I think in the beginning she's not holding a sandwich. She's just looking out the window. And then she leaves to make a
sandwich. And she sees them outside the house.
Yes.
Normal.
Yes.
Before they start messing with the house.
Right.
And then when she comes back with the sandwich and looks out the window, the house is fully landscaped.
Right.
And she's like, Abner!
And he's like, I have 3 or 4 words left. Just leave me alone. And she's like, what are we to do with words? I'm trying to get you engaged in civic duty, and you care about words.
Abner!
What?
Abner, come here!
Gladys, I worked like a dog for 32 years.
Abner, the house across the street has got a lawn, and Abner, there are trees and flowers.
So what do you want from me?
And it's interesting. They're this curmudgeony old couple, and it's a complete foil to Darrin and Samantha's like young newlyweds, very much in love. We see in the first scene they're complimenting each other a lot. She says, I love everything about you. I love every single thing. And he tells her he loves her hair. And then you see this couple who are like, take your medicine.
That lot was plain, ordinary dirt. Now it's a jungle with plants and flowers. Come take a look, Abner.
Gladys, don't pull. Take a spoonful of your medicine.
I don't need my medicine.
I say you do, and I never lied to you, Gladys.
Come look, Abner.
And so he's like, okay, if I get up and there's nothing wrong, will you take some of your medicine? She's like, okay, I promise. And so she goes and gets her medicine. It's in a old-timey looking medicine bottle, and it's like a
huge bottle filled with tranquilizer.
Yeah, so it's like a dark liquid. And she like gives him the medicine so sure, that he's gonna see the whatever. And so then we cut back to Samantha and Endora, and they start walking up to the house, and Samantha's like, oh well, it'll look like that someday. And she gets rid of it, with one motion, and Endora's like, what are you doing? Like, it looks so good, like it's livable now almost, And Samantha's like, well, it will be like that one day, but with seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go into the house, but of course the door opens automatically with magic and closes behind them. And then we see Abner, and he looks out the window, and it's back to normal. And then he like hands the medicine to Gladys and says, all right, take a spoonful. And she's just, she can't believe it. She's like, what? I saw it, and so she takes a spoonful of the medicine.
When he first says that to her, take a spoonful of your medicine, I gasped. I was like, oh, no, he didn't.
Yes, I love her so much. She takes a spoonful of the medicine, and then we go back to Samantha and Endora. So they're walking around the house. Definitely a new build. Got the little paper on the carpets and everything, and it's so cute. But of course, it's, Bewitched. It's the iconic house that they live in. But it's so much fun to see it empty. As well.
Full of possibilities.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happens. So they're looking around, and Samantha's like, I'm going to go look at the kitchen, because she's so excited because she wants to be a normal housewife. So she goes and looks in the kitchen. And then Endora's just still in the living room looking around, and she starts looking at her feet because she's wearing heels, and she's not used to wearing heels. And so she, pops in a chair.
Armchair.
Yeah, an armchair, and sits down. And then Samantha comes back, and she's like, oh, the kitchen's wonderful, full of all kinds of gadgets. I'm going to enjoy my time in there, And then she's like, Endora's rubbing her feet with the heels off, and Samantha's like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful chair. And then Endora's like, have one. And so then there's two, and they both sit down. And so that kind of begins the really fun, decorating montage, right?
Yeah, and it's fun for us to watch too, because this is the first time we've seen them where they're not at odds bickering.
Yeah.
They're having fun together, they're creating together, they're using magic together, and you start to see their relationship as it is when they're not going through the conflict of Samantha ignoring her birthright and Endora not accepting her for who she wants to be.
And it's not like about Darrin. It's just them two kind of having fun. Like you can see how they are kind of without Darrin or before Darrin.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so she's kind of like decorating, and then she's like, Mother, I had no idea you cared about these kind of human things, like you're very good at this decorating thing, and she's like, oh, well, I've lived many lives, basically, like, you don't underestimate your mother, like I can do anything.
Yeah.
Which is really cute. So they like basically create the whole entire area. So they get a couch across from them, a table between the chairs, and then a coffee table, and then a really ugly painting above the fireplace. And then
dining room with a velvet chair.
Yes, the dining room. And then the one Samantha does, and Dora's like, no, that's too severe. And so then Samantha changes it to one that I personally love, because I love mid-century modern furniture anyway. And she does it to these like gorgeous dining room table and chairs, and the chairs are like, what she call them, caneback or something. But they're like kind of like rectangle-ish, but then they have like that wood stuff paneling on the back, and then like this blue velvet cushions. They're really beautiful. And then she puts like the buffet over there in the dining room as well. And then she's like, oh, not bad. So they're having a lot of fun, and Endora's finally like, okay, well, like I can see how, if you have to settle down somewhere, like this is a great place to do it.
Yeah.
And then of course, between them decorating, we go back to the Kravitz's house, and she's like, okay, like I'm not crazy, like yeah, I took my medicine, but I'm gonna go over there and see what's going on because something's weird.
I'm gonna see what's up.
Yeah. And so Gladys runs across the street and looks through the thing.
But before Endora and Sam decide to go upstairs to look at the bedrooms. So they go upstairs. So they're not in the living room anymore. And when Gladys looks through the window, she can't see anyone in there. And another pair behind the curtain moment. When Gladys runs up to the window, you can see through the window a wood beam that's used to prop up the facade of the house exterior on set. So you can see that she's looking through a window that's not the same window that peers into the actual house.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
The set.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah, so of course she peers into the living room. She sees all of the furniture in there, and her expressions are hilarious.
Yeah, because the camera will turn to show us Gladys's face as she looks into the window, and of course she's just.
Should we do our best Gladys? We should.
There's no matching her face.
We could try though.
I'm just trying to think of how I would do it, and it's so crazy.
Are you ready? 1.
You go.
Okay.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. For those not watching on YouTube, watch on YouTube to see Madison's Gladys face because
if you want to see it,
it's really good.
It's really good. Thank you.
So she sees that and she's kind of freaked out and turns back toward the street to catch her breath. And then Endora and Samantha come down the stairs and they're like, wow, this place is absolutely wonderful. I think I'm going to tell Darrin that I want it, when I see him in a little bit. And she's like, oh, if you have to or whatever, Endora's still not happy about it, but she likes the furniture and everything. And then, of course, Samantha does what she did outside and gets rid of all the furniture. She's like, I want to pick out the furniture with Darrin because he's going to live here too. So it's important. And of course, Endora is annoyed by this because she's like, you already had it perfect, why would you do that? And so Samantha's also like, well, Darrin will be here any minute. You should stay around and finally meet him, And Endora is, immediately like, no, I think, I'm gonna fly away, fly off or whatever, and all that. So the furniture's gone and everything.
Well, first she even tells her, you could change your mind many times in 1,000 years. I did, which made me wonder, how old is Endora?
Yeah.
How old is Samantha?
But how
Will
old?
She outlive Darrin?
Exactly. How old do these witches live?
Yeah. It's an interesting little tidbit of lore, and I'm excited to see as the series go on. Did they go into more about the witch's magic and how long they live and what is the magic of this world that we're peeking into?
Don't ask me because I can't remember.
Well, good. We'll find out together then.
Yes. So after they kind of talk about that and, I don't think so, they decide to go out and look at the backyard too because they haven't looked at that yet. And so they go out and look at the backyard. And then that's when Gladys finally, I guess, catches her breath and looks back in the window. And then all the furniture's gone.
I don't know that I think she runs back.
No.
She definitely.
No, she does not. She runs back at the end because she's turns back around and the window's right here. And she turns back around and she's like, oh my gosh, there's all that furniture. That's so weird. And then they go out and look at the patio and then she turns back and looks in the window again.
Oh, okay. So it's before she's run across the street.
Yes. So she doesn't run across the street. Okay. So then she makes another incredible Gladys face.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
And then runs across the street. And what does she kind of mouth when she runs across the street and looks back at the house?
She runs across the street and she turns back and it's almost like it, and this is in our Bibles. We're not making this up. It looks like she goes, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then turns back around and runs inside, which is hilarious.
So good.
I think she says, oh shit. Do you think she says something else?
Well, what else would she say?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if anyone else, if they want to watch this episode, what do you think Gladys says when she turns back around?
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, poop. Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know. She definitely is making I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious, though. What do you think Gladys says when she turns back towards the house?
Right? Yeah. So then she goes in there and she's trying to tell Abner about what she saw, right?
And he's just spooning medicine into her mouth. He's like, all right, open up more and more and more. He's like, how many spoonfuls of this can I give her until she stops talking? Clearly well beyond the prescribed amount, by the way.
And she's like, will you stop feeding me? I know what I saw, she decides to go back over there
But
again.
first, sorry, I'm not over this. She stops. She tells him, like, it's making me nauseous. And he goes, better nauseous than crazy.
Yeah, yes, better nauseous than crazy. I do have that written down as well.
It's awful.
So good. But by this point, Endora has popped away, which I think we forgot to mention. But when she does take off her heels earlier, she puts on these incredible, gorgeous, like, slippers, like, with the little curly front. And they look so comfortable. And they're, like, very, like, hand-sewn, like, jewels
Beaded,
and, like,
you
beaded.
can tell that artisan made.
They look very comfortable. But I love how Endora needs to be comfortable. Like, I totally feel you.
Yeah. It's like when you're putting on a costume and you're trying to be someone you're not. You're like, nothing fits better than my good old pair of shoes.
Exactly.
Which to us look a lot more extravagant than modern for the 60s, modern clothes. But to her, it's like, that's her normal. That's her usual.
But she puts on the heels, when she tries to blend in because she's like, oh, that's what these mortals wear. But she's like, absolutely not. I do not want to wear these heels. So I just think it's cute that she still tries to fit in for Samantha, but then she's like, I don't know how y'all wear these things.
Me neither, girl.
So that's cute. But yeah, so Darrin gets there. He pulls up.
In a Chevrolet.
Yes, of course, in his Chevrolet.
Nice tracking shot of the Chevy.
Yes, and we'll see the Chevrolet a lot more throughout the series as well. But yeah, so he pulls up and Samantha's still like, please stay, mother, please stay, like if you want to meet him and everything. And so she pops out and she forgets her bag and then the bag pops out. It's so cute. So yeah, Darrin comes in and they're kind of touring it together again. And she's just telling him how much she loves it and how she wants to get it, and she's like, I'm happy if you're happy kind of thing. And he's like, well, like, and then she kind of goes into, well, me and mother, like alluding to that her and Endora were there, and he's like, your mother, like, is she still here? And she's like, no, I don't think so, and so then they're talking about the furniture, and he's like, well, like, you can, like, whatever furniture you like, we'll put every stick of it in here, you buy whatever you want. And I'm like, didn't you just say that you're gonna have to tighten up to buy this house, and now you're telling her she can buy whatever furniture she wants? Yeah,
maybe he just means style-wise. He doesn't really have much to input there.
But like he's the one distracted now, like Samantha was in the beginning of the episode, because he still thinks Endora's around, so he's kind of like looking.
I didn't even think about that.
Isn't that
That's
cute?
so
The parallel with that. So he's the one distracted. So she's like trying to tell him about how excited she is about like the dining room chairs and like all these things and all the ideas that her and Endora created together. But he's too busy like looking around for her. But he says something really sweet. He says, because she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm looking for your mother. I want to tell her that she's welcome here whenever she wants, like, if this is our home, like I want her to feel welcome and at home here.
I just want to be her friend and she's welcome here anytime.
Yeah, and I thought that was really, really sweet. But, of course, he hasn't met Endora yet, so he might change that statement in the next few episodes. But it's really cute. And so then, Gladys runs across the street again, and she's like, I'm going to figure out what's going on. And so he's still looking for Endora, and we hear a knock on the door. And he's like, oh, that must be her. Maybe she got locked outside. And he opens the door, and it's Gladys. And she's like, oh, hi, and he's like, oh. And he immediately says, what?
Mother! And he gives her a big ol' hug, and she's like, ah! And she screams.
Yes, he kisses her on the cheek, and she freaks out, and she runs back across the street. And he's like, mother? Like, this is so cute.
Hello.
Welcome, Mother.
And so that's where it transitions into the back to the for sale sign, and then we see the sold thing go over the for sale sign. We don't know how long it's been between them looking at the house and then his instance of kissing Gladys. But then we see them and they're in front of it,
and Samantha's wearing the most gorgeous coat I've ever seen.
Yes.
It is so cute. You can tell it's made of a gorgeous fabric, and it's like nice and thick, and
It's
the
really
button
nice.
on the top, and I'm obsessed
And
with it.
I love the color they picked for the colorized version. It's like this beautiful, like really light pink. And it looks incredible. And then the color they put his like kind of checkered tweedish jacket is like this really beautiful dark blue. So it looks really good together with them standing there. But yeah, so they buy the house and she's like kind of telling him, she's like, oh, well, apparently that woman you kissed, her name is Gladys Kravitz, and her and her husband, Abner, live across the street. So kind of like letting the audience know like who these people were as well. And so they walk into the house and they're just saying how much they love each other and what good decision this is.
Yeah, and he's like, I love you. And she's like, I love you. Please believe that. And I remember in the moment being like, why wouldn't he believe that?
Yeah.
But then we pan up and we see Endora sitting on the roof.
Yeah, well, before that, we check in with the Kravitzes again.
Oh.
And they're she's looking out the window again, of course. And well, both of them are. And like, oh, looks like a nice couple or whatever. And then Gladys seems Oh, no, Abner's like, oh, is that the man that you said kissed you? Why would he want to kiss you? He's got a beautiful wife or whatever.
Yeah, he's got her.
And so she's like, oh, Abner,
She
like
looks at him like, what the heck?
yes, but like as Gladys is staring out the window, she seems like, oh, like elated, like, ooh, like she's smiling and like seems very flattered that he kissed her on the cheek because that's probably the only action she gets ever. Bless her heart. Because Abner's retired, but I guess they're not spending his retirement doing anything fun.
They don't seem very in tune with each other. That's for sure. But
Yes.
anyway, okay, yes. And so then, yes. And then so they have this moment on the doorstep where they're like, I love you, please believe that. And then we pan up and we see Endora and she's like, believe me, it's never going to work.
And then she cackles, and that's where the episode ends. But it also kind of shows, like, she didn't leave. Like, she's still around, and she's with them and watching them and making sure everything's okay. But yeah, her sitting on top of the roof of the house in that gorgeous outfit, looking into the camera, because we had an instance of Darrin looking in the camera last episode. Mm-hmm. And then this is the second instance of someone looking into the camera with Endora talking directly to the audience. And it's so cute.
Yeah, I love it. And it makes sense, like Samantha's line, believe me, was just setting up Endora's line. And you would also think that Gladys and Abner would notice Endora sitting on top of the roof if they're looking out their window. But maybe not. But maybe I'm reading too much into it because this is a TV show after all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the second episode.
Yes, it was so fun. I very much enjoyed this episode. I think it was cool to see a little bit more of Sam and Darrin's relationship and a little bit more of Sam and Endora's relationship, and to get to meet two very beloved characters that come up a lot throughout the rest of the season.
Because a lot of sitcoms especially can definitely have these annoying characters, that pop in and out. Usually nosy neighbors and stuff, but I've never felt with the Kravitzes that they're annoying.
Yeah.
I think they're so much fun. Gladys never does anything crazy or too intrusive, and usually
she's on her medicine.
Yeah, and it's usually just her being seeing something and then being proven wrong, even though she did see something. And her making those incredible faces and running away, and she's just incredible. Which, of course, we'll do a deep dive on her as well. So
yes, we wish we could do deep dives on everyone just right up front, but we gotta wait.
Because I love the casting, especially in the beginning.
So good.
Everybody's incredible.
So good.
So yeah,
you know who's cast particularly well?
Who?
Darrin.
Ah.
Yeah, they did a really good job casting Dick York in that role.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So much so that I feel like I kind of want to do a deep dive on the actor himself.
Off the diving board. Nice. Okay, well, I'm very excited to hear this deep dive about Dick York.
Yeah.
I think it's comfortable.
Yes. All right. Yeah, strap in, folks. It's a wild ride. Yes, Dick York, a.k.a. Richard Allen York, was born September 4th, 1928 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He grew up during the Great Depression in Chicago, and his family was quite poor during this time, like a lot of the country.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in a part of Chicago that was mostly tenements, and his parents were out of work a lot. And this is kind of a sad story, but when he was 11, his young infant brother died, and they were so poor that they could not afford a proper burial for him. So his father and him snuck into a cemetery at night, and they buried his younger brother in a coffin made from a shoebox. So I just thought that story just goes to show how poor they were at the time, but they still did what they could in order to honor someone they lost.
So like an unmarked grave, just...
I don't know. It didn't mention anything about a headstone or anything like that.
Well, that's depressing.
It's quite depressing, but I thought it was an interesting kind of parallel to what Elizabeth experienced when she was younger.
That's right. So in last episode's deep dive, I guess instead of a younger sibling, Elizabeth's older sibling, so her parents' first child, was like a stillbirth. So she lost a sibling as well.
Yeah. So they both lost siblings
Mm-hmm.
when they were young.
But I don't think Robert Montgomery was sneaking into a cemetery in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But
he definitely wasn't struggling during that time.
It's just like, the different means that they both came from. But still, like, those parallels are interesting for sure.
Yeah. Shared childhood trauma.
Right.
And he began his career at the young age of 15 as the lead in a radio show called The Brewster Boy. He played Joey Brewster. And The Brewster Boy was also sponsored by Quaker Oats, which was the sponsor of our first episode.
Nice.
It's also during this time that he meets his wife, Joan Alt at the time. She was 12 and he was 15. They were both child radio stars. So they met working on the job. And they married in 1951 when York was 23 and she was 20.
Nice. And for those who might not know the significance of a radio show, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So back in the day, not everyone could afford a TV, but everyone sure had a radio. And it was a form of entertainment where they would have actors come on and they would perform kind of like a podcast. They would perform a little like acting podcast, and there would be sound follies that were made for sound effects, and it was very immersive for the time. So everyone was, even if you couldn't afford a TV, you had a radio, you were still able to be entertained by these radio shows, and it was quite popular. He did thousands of them.
Nice.
During that time.
Yeah, the thing that pops in my head is from A Christmas Story.
Oh, mm-hmm.
He always has to catch Little Orphan Annie or whatever that is, whatever he's listening to, and like do the little secret message to get, and all it is don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. So I wonder if that was like legit or if they just kind of made that up.
Oh my God, Ovaltine. Throwback. And after he kind of explored his radio career, he decided to move to New York City. And in New York, he acted in some shows on Broadway. He was in Tea and Sympathy from 1953 to 1955, and a show called Bus Stop from 1955 to 56. So he was regularly employed during those years, which I think means he was quite successful for that time.
Yeah, must have been a good actor in the beginning as well.
Right. And Bus Stop actually went on to be adapted to a 1956 film starring Marilyn Monroe and Don Murray. None of the original Broadway cast were asked to reprise their roles, unfortunately.
Of course.
After his Broadway career, he went on to perform in some films alongside famous actors, such as Janet Leigh, a.k.a. Marion Crane from Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the earliest scream queens, and she won a Golden Globe and received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1961. And she's also mother to another famous scream queen. And now we've reached the part of the deep dive where we shall engage in trivia.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I thought it would be kind of fun if I kind of peppered in some trivia questions in here for you, Nathan, and also for you, our listeners.
Well, this is dangerous, though. Like, does that mean, like, I'm going to have to, like, try to step it up for the next deep dive?
I mean, that would be nice.
Wow. Okay. I'll see what I can do.
It's all part of my master plan. I secretly love trivia, and I just want to play it more in my day-to-day.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll see how I do.
Yeah, I'm sure let's see how you do with this. This is an easy one to start off, so they will get progressively more difficult. So Janet Leigh was mother to what famous scream queen? Was it A, Jodie Foster, B, Jamie Lee Curtis, or C, Kathy Bates?
Well, if you know anything about me, it's that I'm obsessed with anything horror and horror related. So this one is easy for me. It's Jamie Lee Curtis, of course.
And that is correct. It is Jamie Lee Curtis, famous for Halloween and several other movies, Freaky Friday, and others. I just love Freaky Friday and want to shout out Freaky Friday.
Prom Night.
Oh yeah, other classics.
There's one where she's on a train, Terror Train, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's like a killer loose on a train.
Wait, that sounds fun, actually.
It is.
See her in that.
That's very fun.
Was that when she was younger?
Yeah.
Other actors that Dick York got to work with during this time, Jack Lemmon. He was a comedic actor. He won 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Supporting Actor for Mr. Roberts in 1955, and one for the Best Actor for Save the Tiger in 1973. And he was also Oscar nominated for Some Like It Hot in 1959.
Interesting, because I think like we have a little connection here too, because I think Jamie Lee Curtis's dad, Tony Curtis, is in Some Like It Hot with him.
Wow.
So that's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, another little connection there.
Yeah, I think you'll find there's quite a few during this deep dive.
Nice.
He also got to work with Glenn Ford, and Glenn Ford was for those who don't know, a prominent actor during. You don't know?
No.
Who is he? Glenn Ford was a prominent actor during Hollywood's golden age. His career lasted over 50 years, and 5 of his films have been chosen for the National Film Registry as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. And those films, in case you're curious, are Gilda, 1946, The Big Heat, 1953, Blackboard Jungle, 1955, 3:10 to Yuma, 1957, and Superman, 1978. He plays Superman's father.
Super Daddy.
Super Daddy. Christopher Reeve's Superman. And in 1959, this is kind of where our story takes a turn. Dick York starred in They Came to Cordura with Gary Cooper and Rita Hayworth. This was when he suffered a permanent disabling back injury. Oh, and I actually have here in his own words what occurred on set that day. Okay, so he says that what happened was Gary Cooper and I were propelling a hand car carrying several wounded men down the railroad track.
As you do.
As one does. I was on the bottom stroke of the sort of teeter-totter mechanism that made the hand car run. I was just lifting the handle up as the director yelled, "Cut!" and one of the wounded cast members reached up and grabbed the handle. Now, instead of lifting the expected weight, I was suddenly, jarringly lifting his entire weight off the flatbed, 180 pounds or so. The muscles along the right side of my back tore. They just snapped and let loose, and that was the start of it all.
But, like, why would an extra be like, oh, it's my job to stop this from moving? The director said cut, and y'all aren't stopping. Like, why would he reach up and grab it?
I don't know.
Like, you're supposed to be an injured or dead soldier. Like, stay in your lane.
Right? Stay in your lane. Just lie there.
Yeah. Like, if he wouldn't have made that decision, like, everything would have been fine.
Yeah, right? Like, was he grabbing it to maybe stand up? I don't know. But I did find video footage of the handcar in question, and maybe we'll post on our Instagram. So check that out at Bewitched Deep Dive if you want to know what the handcar situation was. But yeah, it's exactly as he described it, just a kind of pull down, push up mechanism. And gosh, what a horrible injury to get. It sounds visceral and awful. And
just had like the imagery of like a clump of rubber bands or something like snapping all at the same time.
Yeah. God, awful.
Yeah.
So yes, that left him in debilitating pain, which would years later result in him being unable to continue working on Bewitched. So I have another little bit of trivia here.
Okay.
So a year later, he continued working, and just a year later, he starred in what film adaptation starring Gene Kelly, Spencer Tracy, and Frederick March? This film was based on a 1955 play of the same name.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. He worked with Gene Kelly.
Yes.
I love Gene Kelly.
And love him too. No one dances like Gene Kelly dances.
No.
It's so smooth.
Smooth.
And I have 3 choices for you here. So was it A, Let's Make Love, B, Inherit the Wind, or C, The Devil at 4 o'clock?
Well, honestly, I haven't heard of any of these. And I thought I kind of knew, like Gene Kelly's filmography a little better. So I'm going to like rule some out. I don't think it's the first one. I'm going to say B, second one.
B, Inherit the Wind? That is correct.
Nice.
Yes, this movie was based on the 1925 Scopes monkey trial, which debated the right to teach evolution in schools, and it was seen as very critical of creationism. The film itself was very critical of creationism. And then he starred with Gene Kelly again in 1962 in the ABC drama comedy, Going My Way. That show ended after 1 season, so it was just 1 season long.
Oh.
And then after all of those credits, he went on to appear in dozens of episodes of classic TV shows, including, but not limited to, The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, The Twilight Zone, and quite a few Western TV shows. The Virginian and Wagon Train, which was a fictional adventure story of a large westbound wagon train through the American frontier from Missouri to California. In the show, famous actors would guest star as travelers or residents of different settlements that the regular cast would encounter.
Yes. Yeah, another fun fact about me is that I grew up watching Westerns because my father loves Westerns, so I've seen all of that. So.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe this next trivia question will be easier for you then.
Okay.
Wagon Train influenced the creation of what beloved sci-fi series, which was pitched as Wagon Train to the Stars and premiered in 1966? Was it A, The Invaders, B, The Outer Limits, or C, Star Trek?
It's interesting somebody would watch Wagon Train and be like, this? But in space. Is interesting. Yeah, just because I love it so much, I'm going to pick Star Trek.
And you would be correct. It was Star Trek, and I can definitely see the parallels in this regular crew of the USS Enterprise that encounters different planets and people and across the galaxy. So
nice.
So yeah, now I need to go watch Wagon Train.
No,
I can skip it.
you could.
More time watching Bewitched.
Exactly.
Okay, and then in 1964, he began working on Bewitched.
Mm-hmm.
During this time, he was on a heavy dose of painkillers, sleeping pills, and cortisone, although I did find an article where he was quick to add that he was not taking any of this before filming. He would wait till the end of the shoot and then take the painkillers.
I'm sure like the pain was like excruciating by that point as well.
Yes.
So like he's like, come on, y'all. Like,
yeah, nearly a decade after the injury.
Yeah.
And it was pretty bad. The crew actually built a slanted wall for him to lean on between takes. But by the end of the third season, his back injury escalated to a full-blown degenerative spine condition. And at this point, he needed help walking, and episodes were written and staged so that his character would be in bed or on the couch for the entirety of the episode and just wouldn't have to move around very much.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go on to not appear in several episodes in the third and fourth season. The characters often saying Darrin was away on business during that time. And it was actually whilst filming Daddy Does His Thing, an episode in season 5, where York had a temperature of 105. He was on a bunch of antibiotics, and he had been in that state for over a week. So he'd had this fever for quite a while. He was trying to kick it with medication, and it just wasn't going away or going down.
Yeah.
And he ended up being too ill to go on. He was experiencing chills, and he was sitting on the scaffolding with a cast member on set in between takes, and he started feeling funny. He described this like blinking spotlight that was above him, and it just really disoriented him in the state he was already in. And he kind of called down to another cast member like, hey, I think I need to get down. And he started to climb down from the scaffolding and blacked out and woke up on the ground, came to on the floor. So they rushed him to the hospital. And sometime later, the director, William Asher, he checked in with him and kind of asked him if he wanted to quit Bewitched. And he responded, if it's all right with you, Billy. Which I thought was sweet.
Oh, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So then, yeah, he left to focus on recovery, and Dick Sargent stepped into the role in season 6. I won't go into Sargent because we'll talk about him as we approach his episodes later on in the series. But yeah, save that deep dive for later.
Put a pin in that.
But I will say that despite the on-screen antagonism between Endora and Darrin, off-screen, Agnes Moorehead and Dick York were very close friends.
Yes.
And she was actually quite upset when she learned he was leaving the show and Sargent was going to take his place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for the next 18 months, the next year and a half, York was mostly bedridden and in a haze of prescription painkillers. At some point after those 18 months, he had had enough of living just in a haze, and he decided to quit the drugs cold turkey after being on them for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And he ended up moving out of his home with his wife and children and into his mother's house to kind of spare his family the effects of the withdrawal. And another bit of trivia, he described during this time while he was going through the withdrawals, he was hallucinating and the walls were talking to him, and he describes hearing an instrument play day in and day out in his head. And so my question for you is, what was that instrument? Was it A, bagpipes, B, trumpets, or C, a tambourine?
But what if it wasn't in his head? What if there's like a neighbor that was like just practicing and he's like, oh my God, this must be an hallucination. Someone help me.
Help, I'm hallucinating.
God, that'd be awful.
Right.
We used to have a neighbor that like tuba, like something, like it was like a brass instrument and you would just hear them down the hallway just playing.
Day in, day out.
Yeah, it was awful. Well, I'm not sure. They all sound pretty terrible. It's just constantly here. But since I played trumpet in school, I'm going to vote trumpet.
Trumpet.
Yes.
The correct answer is bagpipes.
Oh.
Yes, he says, I had a band playing in my head, bagpipes night and day. You can't sleep, you hallucinate. I used to make a tape recording of rain so I could listen to the rain lying in bed at night to drown out those damned bagpipes. After 6 months, York was relieved when the hallucinations stopped and the ordinary pain returned.
Great.
Right.
Was he the first one to use like white noise, like a what are they called?
The white
a
noise
noisemaker.
machines,
Yeah. I like the whales. I like listening to the whales.
Oh, the whales.
Mm-hmm.
That's another good Star Trek reference.
That was great. So you're great at Gladys facial expressions and whale noises.
I can do it all. Okay, yeah. So in his memoir, The Seesaw Girl and Me, he describes his struggle with addiction and coming to terms with the end of his acting career. And this memoir was largely a love letter to Joan, who was there for him during the worst of times, and was actually published posthumously.
Mm-hmm.
Should also probably mention that York was a 3-pack-a-day smoker and spent his final years battling emphysema. In 1986, Joan's father died, so they flew from their home in California to Illinois for the funeral, but his emphysema worsened, causing him to collapse on his in-laws' lawn. And they ended up staying in Illinois. They never returned to California, and not long after... Or I shouldn't say they. He never returned to California. Joan, I believe, moved back at some point. But not long after this incident, he began recording inspirational tapes for shut-ins at the behest of a friend who knew this girl who was in a coma in Chicago. And he kind of suggested that he record a little something for her. And so then he just continued doing that, and he would just press the record button and just say whatever came to mind. He was doing Cameo before Cameo was a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And not getting paid for it.
Not getting paid for it. No one really asked this of him. None of these people were coming to him and asking for this, but he figured that it might help them in some way, and it did.
Wow.
It did. So this is kind of where he gets the itch to try and help people however he possibly can. By 1989, he was using an oxygen tank to help him breathe. While bedridden, he founded Acting for Life, a charity that focused on helping the unhoused and other people in need. And this is pretty incredible. He would call up bureaucrats and politicians and just people of the public to motivate them to donate. And it worked. He was able to use his influence to gather thousands of surplus military and civilian issue coats, cots, mattresses, sleeping bags, boots, tons of supplies, which had been long forgotten in government warehouses, just sitting there. And he had an incredible impact on raising awareness and gathering supplies for people in need. I'm talking 15,000 changes of clothes, thousands of mattresses, 5,000 cans of orange juice, all to be donated to the unhoused of Detroit. So he saw people in need, and he was able to, all from his bed, use his phone to call up people and make a change.
That's incredible.
Right?
Instead of like, because a lot of people like, he may have, at one point, but like most people, like I would feel like you would just be like, oh, like feeling sorry for yourself. But it seems like he really cared. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. And one of the articles I read was an interview with the LA Times, and the reporter even commented that, like, you would think someone in this situation would be quite downtrodden and sad, and he never pitied himself. He was always trying to look on the bright side and think of how he could help.
Wow.
So during this time, he had dreams of setting up a regional distribution network for supplies to the unhoused throughout the entire Midwest. He was even working to pressure Congress to convert dozens of abandoned military bases into shelters. Like, they're just sitting there. Might as well help people with them, the people of this country. And he had big plans for this work, but unfortunately, he passed away before he could accomplish it all. Complications from emphysema led to his death on February 20th, 1992. He died in hospital in East Grand Rapids, Michigan at 63 years old, and was survived by his 5 children and his wife, Joan, who passed away in January 2012 at 80 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So she lived a nice long life. But yeah, I just thought that it was incredible the way he was able to use his influence, and even though his acting career was done, he could still use, like, he was a household name. People, across America had seen him on their TV every day.
Exactly.
He was able to use that influence and that renown in order to do something in his final years. And I thought that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, what an incredible life. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Because of course I knew a little bit, like, why he kind of left, like, when I was little, like, asking, why does Darrin look different, and Mama kind of explaining it a little bit and everything. But yeah, like, I didn't know a lot of the other stuff. So even with those issues, like, he was still able to live, like, a really fulfilling, meaningful life. And I think it's really inspiring. Which is, like, just learning more about these people, like, in front of and behind the scenes of the show. Like, it makes me really happy that I can share that, like, learn it myself, but then also use this platform to, like, share it with everyone else as well, to be like don't forget about this show, like, don't forget about these incredible people, because they did some amazing work in their lives. So
yeah, 100%. And if everyone listening, if you ever get curious about a cast member or a background actor or
want us to go in more depth or something that you found,
let us know. Comment, holler at us. We do read the comments, clearly, as you heard in the beginning of our episode. So we are very open to what everyone's interested to, and we're on this journey together. So please interact, let us know. Talk about it.
And you could also even send, I think there's a way, but, like, even, like, a little audio or voice clips to us, and if you want us to play them on the show and things like that would be really fun as well. Or even, like, your memories with the show or your personal connection to Bewitched. I think that would be really cute.
That's an incredible idea, like, for a Christmas episode. As we get closer to Christmas, it can be kind of write that down. That's a great idea. Yeah, and I think over Instagram you can record a little voice note.
Oh yeah, and
send it to us.
Yeah, so as long as we have your permission and everything, I mean, that would be really fun, I think, because especially I know I'm a little younger generation than most people who have a connection to this show, but for, like, me, it's a special thing that I share with my mom and everything. So, like, like, what connections do you have to this show or to any of these actors? We would love to know. So.
That sounds great. Yeah, we'll give more instruction on that somehow via social media, probably.
Yeah,
as we get closer. Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for doing this deep dive with me.
Thank you for doing the deep dive.
I think that's all we have for you all today.
Yeah. It feels pretty good.
Shall we sign off?
I guess so.
Oh.
Parting is
such sweet sorrow.
Parting is such sweet sorrow, as they say.
As they say. Shakespeare.
Sure.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
So, my wife
So witch.